listening to the Liquid Shape Podcast with your host, Cody Perez.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Liquid Shape Podcast with your one and only favorite satanic Hispanic, Cody Perez. And of course, I have my beautiful lady here.
Hello.
Mariah.
Maria Kerry.
You're not drinking tequila tonight, so it's not Maria. It's
That's true.
Mariah.
Mariah.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Today's guest that I'm going to be having on the second segment of this is a friend, longtime supporter of American Overdose. Never got to personally meet him yet, but he's been a huge supporter on social media for American Overdose. Eric Sheets, But before we get into that, we're going to do the first segment of the podcast, which, as you know, typically it's just me ranting. I have a question of the week that we'll answer, and we'll just go with the flow. Before we get into that, what do we got going on this week?
Well, we are flying out to Vegas tomorrow. We're going to celebrate my first birthday.
21st birthday?
Early. Well, the 20-year celebration of being 21, yes.
Okay.
We are celebrating that birthday.
Double checking on that because I know that you're not 41. There's no way you're 41.
I mean, I agree. But shit happens. I don't know.
So yeah, we're going to Vegas and we're getting married. Just kidding. That would have been awkward if I would have done
that. Calm down.
Totally joking. So anybody that's out there that's hearing that, don't fucking think that we're going to tie out the knot. We're not that stupid.
Well, not anymore.
Well, you were that dumb, but I would never be that stupid. I would never think of getting married and then married in Las Vegas of all places.
I got married in Las Vegas by Elvis. Thank you. Elvis was the best part. Should have married him. But you live and you learn.
Yeah. So we're going to Vegas. Also, we're doing this recording a little bit sooner than I normally would. Normally, I do this on Sunday night, so that way we have the most freshest, up-to-date, whatever, to provide update before we launch. Did we do it? No, we did it Friday last week. You're making me a liar.
What am I do with you, Poppy?
So we are going to be traveling, vacationing. I'm excited to get the hell out of Oregon. Hopefully, it's not going to be that much nicer weather down there, I don't think, maybe, but probably still better than Oregon. It's been cold here. So.
Let's pull it up.
Yeah, look it up. I'm planning on gambling.
Ooh, look at that. It's going up slowly and slowly. So tomorrow, 70 degrees. Friday, 71. Saturday, 67. All sunny. And then Sunday when we come back, it's partly cloudy and 65. So whatever. But
when we get back, we're going to be stopping at Stark Street Pizza for dinner for the night. One of my favorite spots. And that's what I'm looking forward to for coming back. I'm not looking forward to coming back. The only thing I'm looking forward to coming back is my puppies because I already missed them. My babies.
And thank you to my cousin who watches them for us while we're out.
Hell yeah. So this week, the question of the week was, I'll read it here to you. It was, if you could go back and speak to your 18-year-old self, what sound advice would you give? Not what you would change, but guidance that may have made life a little easier or clearer along the way. How do you think that advice would have impacted your journey? When did you finally learn this lesson? Or what moment made it all click, quote unquote, for you? A story, a realization, or even a simple truth, everything is welcome. That's what I posted on social media to get feedback from everybody, and I got some awesome responses. And it's hard sometimes when I ask these questions for me not to get in a rant because I'm a very chatty person. I know, but I've been telling people I will comment on here so that way we have a reason to give a little bit more voice and opinion on this. We'll share our 2 cents after this, but of course we're going to read the comments that were left behind, and then we'll respond to those comments, and then we'll share with you guys what piece of advice we would give to our younger selves. I don't think Mariah was aware of what the question was, or she was, but she wasn't really because she's had a busy week. And so I reminded her right before when we're eating Mexican food. Well, maybe some of these responses, because I got some really great responses. We will get some good feedback.
You have great fans, so
I don't like to call them fans. I just like to, these are all people that have been supportive in one way or another. I don't see them as anything other than just acquaintances, friends, whatever.
I mean, even when I've done merch at your shows, just the amount of people that come up and say hi and ask, "Are you Mariah?"
And they ask about the puppies.
And they ask me,
I love that.
How are the boys? How's Taz and Lorenzo? I'm like, everybody's just so nice.
People still ask about Gizmo.
You guys
I
rock.
love it.
Oh, I miss gizzards.
They asked me about my Gizmo. Passed away. So let's get into this. The first one came in from Esmond C. Santiago. He said, okay, I would have to say the following to my younger self. Be patient. You're not supposed to have everything figured out in your 20s. Be more disciplined and don't doubt yourself. You have more potential than what you think. Don't be afraid to cut off toxic people. You'll be better off. Go to all your favorite bands, shows, and music festivals. Don't be afraid to love and embrace what makes you happy. Sounds easy enough, but trust me, back then it wasn't.
Holy crap, I think that's my answer.
Can't cheat and
I
steal his.
know.
That was a great answer.
Esmond, that's a great one. Oh my god.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that? What are your comments, thoughts?
I mean, all of it. Be patient. I'm sure many people can relate, but ever since I can remember grade school, middle school, high school, I always wanted to be an adult. I always wanted to have everything figured out and be an adult and get into the workforce and get out of school and just go on with life, because being an adult, oh my God, how amazing. And then so I think just being that age, 20s, I mean, even in your 30s and honestly going into 40s, like you're not still supposed to have everything figured out. I don't know, for your life, everything will play its part when it's supposed to. So I think just taking a step back and just breathing and just kind of living more in the moment, I guess, especially nowadays. Don't doubt yourself. I think that's a huge one, especially if you come from maybe potential abuse, maybe from parents or whatever that looks like, and being put down, or maybe you're bullied in school or teased in school, whatever. All the same. It's easy to kind of doubt yourself. I know I had issues with that a lot in my 20s too. But if I could, definitely look at my younger self, I just look at her in the face and just say, you're loved. It all works out, and just make you happy. And then, like you said here, don't be afraid to cut toxic people out. You're better off. So. And of course, go to all your favorite music shows and festivals and concerts. I wish I would have done more of that when I was younger. Versus now I still want to do it and I love it, but maybe it would hurt a little less.
I'll tell you what, it would have been a lot cheaper.
For
fucking
sure.
way cheaper back then to do that, like in my 20s.
Fuck.
But you know what? I did go to a lot of concerts, so I can't really complain about that. Be patient. You're not supposed to have everything figured out in your 20s. 100% agreed. But the problem was, young Cody Perez at 18 thought he knew it all. Can you imagine that? Can you believe that?
Never. I mean, my goodness. This is the guy, if I even open my eye at 5:30 a.m. when you're awake, it's, what's for dinner? What should we do for dinner?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts for dinner? I'm like, I haven't even contemplated the day yet. I'm still dead.
So I would say that, this is some really good sound advice, Esmond, that you just put on here. I like it all because I feel like it's all applicable to me, but I wish I could go back and tell myself. Being patient. I was so quick to want to do everything, and I had the world in my hands, and I'm like, well, I'm young. I'm going to be able to do this if I want to do that. I can do this or that if I want to do that. And I just felt like it was really open for anything. At the same time, I did have doubts too in myself, because I had a lot of people saying, well, you can't do that because of XYZ, and you should go to college, or you need to have this figured out by then, and you need to be married by then. And it's like, no. I'm not living by anyone's rules. Nobody's going to tell me that I need to follow a blueprint of life that they supposedly think is what I'm supposed to be doing. That's not going to work like that. I always knew I wasn't going to get married. I always knew that I was of two things. I was either not going to ever have kids, or if I was going to have kids, I was going to have like 20 of them. I swear to God. I've been saying this since I was younger.
Could you imagine 20 Codys running around?
No, it would not be good. I feel sorry for anyone that would have had that unpleasure of having to deal with that, because I just can't imagine. But
they'd be cute though.
I'm an extremist when it comes to things. Like, I either do it all or don't do it at all. So I'm all in or all out. You're not going to get no half-ass shit from me, whether it comes to my work, whether it comes to my commitments to anything. I'm all in or all out. Okay. But cutting toxic people off, I wish I would have done that way sooner. I wish I would have done that, like, known about that in high school. But you're just trying to make as many friends as possible and be the most popular and all that. So definitely would love to give that piece of advice to myself. All right. Our next one is actually from our guest that's going to be on the second segment here, which Eric Sheets says, be more patient. Second time we get that one. Love it. Stop doubting everything that you do, another doubt on here, that you do or say as being wrong because others have the right way to do it, quote unquote, relatable to what I was just kind of saying. This can be applied to relationships or everyday occurrences. Stop letting others dictate how you feel. I love that.
That's a good one, especially at 18.
Yeah, at 18, it seems like people, like, you get all this responsibility, but people still want to, like, hold you to their standards and their ways of being. And and whatnot. And I guess if you're living under your parents' roofs, the roof, you're gonna have to do that, I guess, but
Right.
to a point. But at that point, you're 18. You should hopefully be out of the house and try to figure it out.
Right. No, I think, stop letting others dictate how you feel. I mean, and that can go as far as that as, say you're still living at home or whatever. But I mean, even as friends, because a lot of times, especially at that age, you're so impressionable. And again, you're just trying to make friends or make friends, keep friends, all of that. And then you can get those individuals that tell you how you feel or what you should be doing, or because I'm doing this, you have to feel this, or I feel this way, so now you feel this way. I don't know. Maybe that's not a dude thing. I'm not sure.
I think it happens to everybody, honestly. It's just it's a part of growing up, so you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Next one's from our buddy, Brandon Sills, who actually is a guest on one of the episodes that we'll be releasing here soon from him, once we get to the order that I got him recorded on. So Brandon says, be less hyper vigilant and stress less when you get stable, because there is more purpose to serve in the future when barricades aren't a psychological response to changes. Give yourself more time than you normally do before finalizing decisions. Some work in favor, some don't. Those that wouldn't work reveal themselves quicker than you think. Unapologetically, crop dust everyone. Whether your shit stink or don't, there are bound to be people who will remember the smell of your ass for years. That's called making an impact. And oh my God, I love it. Way to put a visual in our head. What are your thoughts on that?
I guess I need to fart more in public. I know you don't like that, but no, I think give yourself more time than you normally do before finalizing decisions. I think that's super important because, again, I mean, I obviously can only speak from my experience and myself, but again, being younger, I just wanted everything now. Like I was 18, I was ready to start working. I wanted money and I got to move out. I got to get a car. I got to get the bills. I got to do this, do that. I wish.
How much of that do you think is people pressuring you to do that versus what you just feel like you've been held back from doing something and all of a sudden you have all this freedom to do it? Like how much of that do you think, like what percentage is the pressure of what people tell you that you need to do and the pressure you put on yourself based off of now you have all this freedom that you didn't maybe feel like you had?
I think it's a good mix of both, honestly. I think it's the pressure, like for me, that I put on myself, but then also what I was hearing, like family expectations or whatever that may be. And seeing what other people are doing, just like comparing, though. You see what other people are doing, like, oh, shit, I should be doing that too. Oh, I want to do that. Wait, I should be doing that. Why am I not doing that?
And right now, unfortunately, we are in the age of comparing everything because of social media. Literally everything you see on there, and you have to catch yourself sometimes and be like, you know what? That's not my path. That's not who I am. It may be, we may have similar goals. And I think I said this earlier on my social media, on one of the things posts that I made, but like it's very simple and easy to fall into comparing yourself to others, and then it can be, you're not doing yourself any good by doing that, because every person has their own journey and every person has their path of how they get to where they want to be. Your path is not going to look the same as somebody else's, and you don't know what they had to go through for that. You don't know what advantages they had or disadvantages they had, vice versa. Absolutely. And the beautiful part of it is that you get to pave your own path, and then you get to tell your story afterwards of how you got to where you wanted to be. But you'll get there if you want to do it yourself. If there's something you want bad enough, there's nothing that's going to hold you back. So,
that's right.
Brandon, I love it. I love your visual, man. Man, you're wild, buddy. I love it.
Best.
All right. Steve-Il Helmer, which I hope I said that correctly, said, booze is not the answer to any problem. Number one answer. I, for one, will 100% agree with that. And I will go ahead and say that I would, that's one of the main things I would have told myself is that it's not the answer. It's not what makes you cool. It's not what gets you to socialize. It honestly is, here's the thing. I don't have any regrets, but it's one of those things for me, I would say, that if I would have put a less value on partying and booze, who knows where I'd be right now? I could, but at the same time, again, who knows where I'd be if I didn't have those falls that I took, those bumps, those bruises, those failures, those losses of people and connections and relationships and whatnot. Who knows if I would be here where I'm at right now, which I feel I'm in a great, happy place. And maybe I wouldn't appreciate what I have now, because I wouldn't know the difference between going through the craziness that I've gone through and the losses I've lost and all that to be where I'm at and to appreciate what I have. I 100% agree with you. How about you?
I do as well. For me, at 18, I didn't really drink that much. I mean, I had my party sides here and there in high school, but I didn't honestly go into being like a big quote unquote boozer until probably about 22. And that's when I craved being out. I wanted to be out drinking. I just wanted to be out because that's back with the clubs when they were clubs. I wanted to be out and I like dancing. So it's like I just wanted to be out drinking and dancing. And it was just like a way to relieve stress, I guess, or let loose or not have to think about things. Or again, kind of like I mentioned in the last podcast or the last episode was maybe that was a sense of me numbing. But yeah, there's a time and a place, but it doesn't answer the problem.
You might have never ran into some crazy ass guy singing karaoke trying to buy you a bunch of Red Bull vodkas from a distance. And
Jesus Christ. Get Cody Perez that's poking you on Facebook. You look at his profile picture. He has sunglasses, black sunglasses. Okay, first off, he's in a bathroom mirror taking a selfie, black sunglasses on, a purplish colored Slipknot hoodie, and then a handgun.
It's a real gun.
I know, but as a
9mm.
profile pic. And then I'm looking at it, I'm like, who the fuck is Cody Perez?
But you were intrigued.
I was. Because you were funny.
Of course I was.
It's the banta.
All right. So this one is from one of my high school friends, Beth Lewis. She says, college is not the end all be all. You can and will have an amazing career at what you choose to do as long as you work hard. Stop fighting for people who will not fight for you and start fighting for yourself and your happiness. Invest in yourself, invest in your future, your goals, and your happiness. Beth, I fucking love everything you just said there because I agree with everything you just said. And I think that goes back to like the pressures that people have. Like I had a lot of pressures myself of like, what college you going to? You apply for this college, put in for this to get funding. And like, I went to two semesters of college. And after that, I was like, fuck this. I need to make money. This is not paying the bills and I'm only getting myself in further debt.
Yep.
And when I compare, now, like I said, I don't like to compare myself, but when I compare myself to friends that did go to school, a lot of them were in debt for a lot of years. Some of them still are in debt, and I still make more money than them. Not that money's everything, but I didn't have to get myself in debt, and I feel like I've had a pretty good, decent, career with what I do for making money and whatnot. Because I'm one way or another, I was gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna hustle to make my bills and to pay for the things I like to enjoy to do when I'm not at work. So yeah, college definitely is not the end all be all. And I hate how people still push that. And to me, it's the biggest scam in the world. 100%. It really is. And anyone that pushes you to do that is brainwashed, in my personal opinion. I know there's going to be people out there that don't agree with me. That's fine. That's totally fine because I appreciate people having different views and whatnot.
And there's so many different routes you can take too. Obviously, depending on the field you're trying to get into. Obviously, to be a doctor, you need to go to college. Stuff like that, right? But like, say, HR, for instance, what I'm in. A lot of places now don't even require a bachelor's degree. They're looking more for like specialized certifications, like your SHRM, are you SHRM certified, SHRM CP, like that type of stuff. There's your PHR. There's different certifications, actual tests that you have to take and pass. And then you have to take classes to get points throughout the year to maintain your certificate as well. That type of a thing versus you necessarily going and getting yourself into debt. So that's one thing I wish I would have, like with this one and the other one where it said don't, give yourself more time before finalizing decisions, before jumping into things. Because now it's like every time I look at my student loans, I'm like, Jesus Christ. And the thing is, I make the most money right now that I've ever made in my life. Again, that's not everything, but just saying. And my job doesn't even require a bachelor's degree, but I have one.
You have one. Yeah. This is coming from someone that actually went to college and has her degrees and whatnot, multiple of them. So proud of you for that, for going through with it. But I'm glad that you were a voice of reason of saying, you know what, you don't need that.
No.
And when people try to hold it up like they're like this greatest thing in the world because they have it, it's like, no, that's what makes you feel better about yourself. Good.
Yeah.
But
well, and especially if it's like job related, if you're seeing like companies that are like, especially for certain things that you have to have this type of degree and blah, 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 I would say run because, maybe not every time, but I would just really do a deep dive into that company because it may not be the best place. Because if to me, that says that they're probably not investing in you and training you and getting you where you want to be to retain you. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense to me for sure. I love this Stop fighting for people who will not fight for you and start fighting for yourself and your happiness. 100% agree with that. That's happened so much in my life where, I am a good, loyal friend to people and they go around and stab me in the back or they're less than when I'm not around. And it's like, okay, well, I don't need to have people like that in my life. I don't need to associate with people like that. If you're two-faced, just tell me you don't like me. I don't care. I can deal with it. If it's something that I'm being disrespectful to you and I don't realize it, I'll work on it. I'll fix on it. If it's just the way that I am with certain things, I'll let you know, hey, this is just who I am, and maybe you're misinterpreting it, but here's some clarification. If it's you can't handle that, then it is what it is. And yeah, I believe that you have to fight for your own happiness and for yourself, because guess what? We're here for such a short amount of time. And if you're not happy with yourself, there's no way in hell that you can make other people, your friends, family, your relationships, any of that happy around you. So
you gotta give yourself that time to find you and love yourself before you go jumping into relationships, whether it's friendships, relationships, because I don't know. I just feel there's so many people out there that will take advantage of people. And especially if you're not confident in yourself, they can feed off that. I've had it happen. So.
There's a lot of people that just
Many times,
they keep you around to see what they can get out of you, whether it's some social status bullshit that they see in their head that they think that they're getting out of you, or maybe your spot is nicer than theirs and they like to come over and trash it, and you're the party spot, whatever. I don't know. All right. And then invest in yourself, invest in your future, your goals, and your happiness.
Yep.
Love that. 100% agree on all of that. The best investment you're going to make is on yourself, and then everything else should be secondary.
Yep.
Because you can't. It's like when you're on the airplane. Someone made that analogy. It's like when you're on the airplane, they tell you if the plane's going down, you got to put your mask on first before you can help other people. You can't help other people while you're gasping for air and you're.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Next one is from Tony. And dude, I suck at names like really, really bad. I screwed up that name, so I'm going to have you say the name there. But so Tony Astorga, which I do know this guy, and he mentioned earlier that he'd like to be on the podcast. We've known each other for quite some time from back in the day. I actually think we jammed back in the day when I had a high school band. Me and Derek jammed with him. So Tony says, I would have said, work harder than those around in your younger years so that you can reap the fruits of your labor later. I agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing the activities that recreate you, or you'll lose yourself little by little. There's more, but I don't want to write a novel. Hey, I appreciate that, man, but it's all good. I love reading these things. I think these things are great, just to get to know people a little bit better, and then it's good topics for us to talk about and just like kind of open up and reflect on how we feel about it. I definitely, I would say work harder. I did that a lot. I think I've done that since I was a younger person. I've always worked hard at whatever it is that I'm wanting to achieve. And I feel like usually I know that in a lot of cases, I'll admit this, I'm not the best at what I do, but I will work the hardest. So I'm going to make you work that much harder because I need to make sure I stand out in some way, shape, or form or fashion. So that's been rewarding for me in many aspects of my life, whether that be the jobs, that be with the bands that I've been in and all that stuff. I'm always willing to put in the work, double, triple, quadruple of others, just to show that I want it that bad and to show that I'll do whatever it takes. And I may not be the very best, like I always say this, but I will work the hardest for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So the next one is Kiris Emberborn. So hopefully we said it right this time. I thank you for giving us, the correct way to pronounce it as well. And they said, I would tell myself that other people's opinion of me is none of my business and that their opinion in no way is indicative of my value. Also to watch and listen because people will tell you who they are through how they treat you. Building on my comment from last week, if you state, I feel blank when you blank, and it turns into an argument where you end up apologizing to keep the peace, then run your motherfucking asses out of there.
I like it.
Yes. And also, Kiris, thank you. You said episode 2 was great, and I dig the format. Thank you for doing this. Well, thank you for giving us more feedback and answering this week's question again. It's great.
The first time that I heard this, that other people's opinion of me is none of my business, I always remember that it was Crystal, our friend, that said this, and it stuck out to me it was like, whoa, that's very true.
Crystal.
Very, very, very true. Like that. Once I heard that, I was like, you know what, you're right. I don't care what, because I don't care what other people think of me.
Nope.
But if it's someone that's a friend or a family member or someone that I'm close to, then at that point it's like, okay, well now I know that you're not a friend. You're not a true person that I could keep around. So I love that quote. That's something that stuck by me. And like we said last week, the I feel blank when you blank, that's a very great way to kind of make someone aware of
Absolutely.
when they've crossed the line.
Yeah, and I completely agree. Because with that, and if, saying I feel blank when you blank and it turns into an argument where you end up apologizing, I mean, that's big red flags.
Would you call that a narcissist?
Yes.
I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, granted, I know that word gets thrown around so loosely
No,
now anymore.
it's
Because
true, though,
honestly,
but it's true.
we all are a little narcissistic, I think, in our own little ways. Maybe not to the extremes as diagnosed like narcissists, because I think there's a few different levels of narcissism, but
I love it. Thank you for sending that. And the next one is from Mr. John, my buddy from last week.
John,
I'll let you read this one.
you're
I've
gonna
been reading.
John says, hey, if I could sit down with my 18-year-old self right now, here's what I would say. Life's going to push you in directions you never saw coming, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually the best thing. Back in high school, I flat out said I would never have a construction job. Not because I thought I was too good for or anything. I just figured it wouldn't fit me, wouldn't interest me. Fast forward, and when I've spent years doing exactly that, machine operation, driving big trucks, demolition, framing, finishing, carpentry, turns out I love it. These jobs taught me my real hands-on skills that I use every single day now. Because of all that, I ended up owning my own appliance installation business here in Salem. Never in a million years did I picture myself as a specialist in kitchen appliances. But when I show up to a job and that the wall oven's too big for the cabinet or too small, I have the tools and skill set to modify the cabinet right there. Granite countertops need cutting to fit a bigger cooktop. I can handle it. Most other installers won't even touch it. It's a headache, a liability, or say it's not their job. But I've got the experience, the confidence, and the know-how because I spent those years in the trades learning how things actually go together. So yeah, 18-year-old me was wrong about that one. And being wrong put me in a really good spot today. First big piece of advice, take more initiative. I was never super risk averse, but man, I lacked confidence back then. A lot of that came from getting bullied pretty hard in elementary and middle school. It stuck with me longer than it should have. I hesitated. I quit at the first sign of push. I was too chicken to pull the trigger on a lot of things because I didn't fully believe in myself yet. Looking back, if I stepped up earlier, taken more chances, asked for more responsibility, gone after opportunities instead of waiting, I'd have been in a way better position sooner. Some of those moves could have made me a fortune. Don't wait for perfect confidence. It comes from doing the thing anyway. Second thing, be more selective with your friends. I had a small circle growing up and I tried really hard to hold on to those friendships, even when the effort wasn't mutual. I poured energy into people who didn't pour it back and it didn't serve me at all. It held me back in ways I didn't see at the time. I wish I'd recognized that sooner and put my effort where it was appreciated. That said, I'm still thankful for every connection I've had. Good or bad, they all shaped who I am and got me here. But learn to spot one-sided stuff earlier. Protect your energy. Third thing, pay more attention to the signs. You know those moments. You get this excited idea for something like a business or a project and you feel that spark, but then you talk yourself out of it and do nothing. 6 months or a year later, you see someone else out there doing exactly that thing and you're like, fuck, that was my idea. Or that nagging feeling hits. You should call someone, reach out, check in, but you brush it off. Then a week or two later, you run into them out of the blue and it turns out they had the same feeling or they really needed to hear from you right then. I think those are signs. Call it God, the universe, intuition, whatever you want to call it. But they're real and they're trying to guide you. I've noticed yet ignored too many of them over the years, and looking back, acting on them could have changed things faster or saved some headaches. Start listening sooner. Jesus. Start listening sooner.
It's our dog, Lorenzo. He's right by Mariah, so he's like breathing all hard for some reason. So just interrupting for a second, but that's what we're acknowledging right now because you could probably hear him.
Start listening sooner. When that gut pull shows up, move on. It might be the nudge that keeps you ahead or connects you at the right time. Bottom line, everything happens for a reason. The detours, the jobs you swore you'd never take, the hard lessons, even those little signs, they all build up into someone who can handle more than you think. I wouldn't change the path because it led me to my own business, being the guy others call when no one else can get it done. So, to my 18-year-old self, stay open, stay up, choose your people wisely, listen to the signs, believe in yourself when nobody else does, and trust that the unexpected turns. And those quiet nudges are the ones that matter.
I love
Woo!
everything you just said there, John. That's all great, great advice. And it's like I said, hearing these things from people and folks and these conversations, it inspires me. It like
Absolutely.
literally does, because I'm like, oh, like that. I didn't even look at things that way. I love the story how he said that he wasn't into like the carpentry and the construction and all that stuff. Like he was so against it, but then he get like all of a sudden that's what he does, and it taught him all these skills. And it goes to show you that you just don't know what you can do and what you're going to learn from some things, and then for some reason or another, these things come across in your life, and it teaches you, and it just makes you better. Like.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love that. And John's definitely one of those people that's very, very, very intelligent. So I know, like, if I have a question, he's one of the people I definitely would reach out to if I had a question about something like this, because I know that he's been doing this like for a long time especially like with appliances and whatnot. I know
it's so great that, John, that you had the skill set and you can use it in your business as well. I mean, especially with word of mouth. Like you said, if there's a granite countertop that needs cutting, you can do it. Or appliance doesn't fit, well, you can work it to where it does because you have that skill set. And that's just awesome, because then, those individuals...
It's applicable everywhere, though, too, when you think about it.
Someone customer is going to spread the word.
Someone that does things like this, it's more than just appliances. Think about it.
Yeah.
So they're a problem solver.
Yeah.
And every job, no matter what kind of job, whether you're working with your hands or you're working on a computer and you're working on a spreadsheet, or you're whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to run into problems. And someone that does things like this, that solves problems, is going to have a job anywhere they go, no matter what, because that's the bigger picture of it. It's not so much that you know how to cut this or cut that necessarily. He figured that out, and that's awesome. He has those skills because those things are needed.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he is a problem solver, he has the confidence to say, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. I can do it. And like he said, confidence is a big part of it. And as you do, you get more confident, and then you're able to do a lot more with all that. Let's see, what else did he say down here? We were talking about choosing your people wisely. I 100% agree with that. I don't like to blame people for the bad decisions that I've made or that I make. But they do have, in a way, shape, or form, an influence on those type of things. And so if you're hanging out with the wrong crowd, or you're going somewhere and one of your friends, quote unquote, is doing stupid things that could get you potentially either hurt or in trouble with the law or shot at or something stupid, that's because you're hanging with the wrong people, and those they bring you down, like we've said before I think on one of the other questions that we had from last week. So choose your people wisely, because like we've said before, you're on here for such a short period of time on this earth, and why waste your time with people that just don't serve you well. Listening to the signs, yes, I'm seeing that more and more and more now every day that I'm aware of it.
Intuition's real.
It is. It really is.
And when you listen to it, it's mind-blowing. It's like, wow, I should have did this a long time ago.
And I love the believe in yourself. It sounds like just from I'm seeing a pattern here from a lot of the conversations that we've had, people comment on this, is that obviously younger self is you're not going to be as confident. And that's something that I can relate to for sure. I mean, I had confidence, but it was a different kind of confidence, and we won't go down that path right now. All right. The next one is from Randy Cable. I wouldn't tell myself that I wouldn't tell myself that I was better than I thought I was, but I'd at least tell myself to question my perception that I was worthless and that I didn't I learned this lesson on my third prison number when I got clean for the last time. I was walking along towards the pill call line, and I noticed how beautiful the sky was. It was a dark, moody purple color with the razor wire contrasting against the haunting sky. I felt at peace and somewhat happy. I asked myself, why have you never been able to notice the beauty in life except when you are in the worst place possible? I was able to see that because I wasn't buried under a mountain of intoxicants trying to hide from reality. Been there.
Yeah.
Then I began to come to these conclusions. Maybe I was wrong about life. Maybe life could be good. Maybe I have sold myself short. Maybe if I tried, I could do something different. Maybe I didn't need to escape reality, and maybe I didn't need to die with the needle in my arm. I consider that my first real spiritual awakening. That's powerful, Randy. I can 100% relate with all of that. And he painted a picture for me about the sky.
I can see it, yeah.
I've said this to you many times. Like when I'm out doing my daily runs in the morning, taking care of chores and whatnot, I love, especially in the summertime, I love waking up early as hell and I'm working out, I'm doing whatever. But when I'm out and about running errands out, paying bills, whatever, it's my time to reflect. I don't even have music on a lot of the times. I'm driving, I'm looking at the sky, and I'm just like, I'm appreciating the cold wind, the beautiful pink, yellow, orange, blue sky, whatever that it is in that morning. And those are things that I never once, ever appreciated before I got sober. And I never would reflect as deep as I do now that I'm sober. It took me a long time, and I'm just still now, like I'm 2 years and how many months now sober. And I'm still starting to just feel things again that I hadn't felt ever before or haven't felt since I was preteen, which is crazy to think about. That's how long I was drinking and partying and drowning myself in booze and messing with drugs and all that I numbed and killed so many of my feelings and numbed so much shit that I couldn't appreciate the stuff. And so just reading this from Randy, I can 100% relate with that. And I look at things so much differently now where I appreciate just going out and being able to breathe fresh air. I appreciate that I'm able to, when I'm outside working on lawn stuff, it's like, you know what? There's people that wake up that don't get to stand up on their own legs. There's people that have lost limbs. There's people that they're not able to bend over to pick up things from their yards and whatnot. And I should be just thankful that I wake up in good health and that I'm able to do that. So it's amazing what sobriety can do for you. And I'm not here to preach to anybody about getting sober, but I can tell you right now that if you're struggling and you feel like you're a person that is a slave to a poison, or you're questioning if you should or shouldn't, I can tell you right now that if you do, it is 100% worth it. You owe it to yourself and the people that are around you, because you will value them a lot more. You will value your life, and it's going to open up a brand new world. And it sounds, I always think about what Disney movie is that? The Brand New World song? Is that Aladdin or A Whole New World? I laugh thinking about that because that's what I think, but it really truly is a new world that you wake up to. And every day I wake up, and I'm not just saying this, I every day wake up very thankful for what I have, the people that I have around me, my job, my house, my pets, my health, my sobriety, because I don't wake up feeling anxious and feeling like I don't feel like waking up like I did something wrong or any of that stuff. I wake up guilt-free, and I love that. And it's very liberating.
The hangover anxiety is the worst.
The hangovers are they are the worst, yes, but it's something way deeper than that to me that I feel better about being sober, and I love it. And I don't ever have to worry about waking up like that again. The potential monster is always there, so I never forget that, and I don't, that'll always live in me, but I have no temptations or no plans to ever go back to that. So thank you, Randy, for sharing that. The next person here is requesting to be anonymous, and they said, if I could give advice to my 18-year-old self, it would be to further my education and be self-reliant before I get married. I married before my 19th birthday and divorced when I was 32 and went back to school so I could get a job as a single parent to 2 kids.
I mean, I'm sad to hear that your marriage didn't work out, but proud of you for at 32 going back to school so you can get a job as a single parent. I think that's good advice for sure. It's like when you're 18, I think that all kind of falls back into I should do this, I should do that, get married, kids, or this and that. And it's like, how about we sit down and breathe, and what are our goals? What do we want to do versus what maybe is being pushed on us or what we feel we need to do because of what we're seeing from social media, or like back when I was 18, 2003, let's age myself. What was I seeing on MTV? What were they doing?
Yeah.
So
we were following the trends on there.
Yeah,
That's what we were trying to follow.
Because there wasn't really social media yet. I mean, I think Facebook was a thing, but didn't that start off college-wise or something, and then it went globally.
I mean, it really my
can't remember.
my first time ever like actually signing up for Facebook, I believe, was 2007. So it was MySpace first.
Oh yeah,
MySpace was the first one that really
When
like
did
the social
MySpace
media.
start? I don't remember.
Like 2000, I want to say
6?
3 or 4 is when it really like. I remember having an account back in like 2003 or 4.
Yeah.
And then it really got popular like after that, like 2005, 6 is like
Yeah.
when that's when YouTube was coming out and Vine and all that stuff.
Oh, I miss Vine.
We're all coming out. So I love that the being self-reliant before getting married.
Yeah.
That's a powerful thing. Like there's nothing better than knowing that you don't need another person to get anything done, and coming into a relationship fully knowing that, hey, when I come in here, I'm bringing something to the table, but if you're not bringing something, if you're not bringing anything, and if you're going to hold me back or you're going to make me do all the work or whatnot, I'm gone. Because a relationship is a partnership, and you both have to come in willing to work and put the work in. And then it's to me, it's always been a red flag when people want to be like the sole providers and they don't want their significant other working. And usually this is guys, like I'll just say that, I'll just call it out for what it is. It's usually guys that don't want their woman working and they want to be the only person that makes the money in the house, and they want to control the money. They want to they want to do all this stuff. And it's because it's an insecurity within themselves. That's really what it is. And it's a control thing. And they don't want you being out in public. They don't want you making friends. They don't want you meeting other guys potentially. And that's a major red flag. And it's sad that women fall for that so easily because they're like, oh, well, they buy me my purse and they're paying for everything and I get to do this and they love me. It's like, no, you're not looking clearly at what's going on there. You don't look at the
scope of what's happening.
And I'm not saying this is always the case, but it's a majority of the case. I'll tell you that right now. This is a guy telling you.
But jumping back into your favorite word, that's a trait of narcissist, someone being a narcissist.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. All right, the next one is from Vanessa, and she says, I would tell my 18-year-old self that she was enough. She was always enough, and to focus on her own goals and healing before worrying about finding someone else. To be comfortable where she's at in life, and to pour her time and energy into her own growth. All of that. That is great. That's a perfect age to not worry about being with anyone. And worry about just building yourself and growing and learning who you are and what you want and what you don't want. And it's okay at that age, especially to make mistakes and whatnot. Absolutely. And take your bumps and bruises, and that's what I know.
Your trips and falls and
everything. I've been watching too much wrestling. That's what it is. Is
there too much wrestling?
No, there's never enough wrestling. There's never enough old school wrestling. I don't watch the new stuff. So, but I love it. Like, she says that she would tell her old self that she was enough. I think a lot of the times when we're at that age, we don't have, like, we're seeing a common theme here. It's like confidence is not a big part of young people's characteristics at that age. I think we have a different kind of confidence. Like I was trying to say, there's a different kind of confidence that we have.
I think you get like a cockiness, but maybe not a confidence, but you get kind of cocky in how you are and who you are, but that doesn't mean you're confident, if that makes any sense, because I feel like that's how I was. But I really relate to this, Vanessa, where you say, that you're always enough and to focus on your goals and healing before worrying about finding someone else. I wish I could have told my 18-year-old self that, like, just find you. You don't need to be in a relationship or jump from relationship to relationship. But also for me, and I think many others, I wish back then it would have been a bigger thing that women have ADHD. Because again, I was diagnosed later in life when it's like, I kind of had a, like, not a breakdown, but I had to sit down and like cry after I was diagnosed, and I did start medication, and just the clarity I got from that. I'm like, holy shit, if only I would have known that I had this back then, because there's so many characteristics and so many traits and things that you do, but that I could have helped overcome, or maybe have gotten help or seen somebody or did something to avoid going through the pitfalls that I went through being undiagnosed. But then also on the same side, I agree with what others have said too. I do believe that everything we go through is, you do for a reason. It only makes you stronger. Fuck, man.
Yeah, it could have been easier for you.
Did it always have to be so hard?
No, for sure. Like, it could have made probably life easier for you, but you know what? Maybe it would have got you to be a pill popper. Who knows? Like, it's just something. Everything happens for a reason, and it's what builds character. And I think at that age, 18 especially, like that's where, like I said, you have to take your bruises and
Yeah.
from there. So thank you so much, Vanessa, for contributing. And the next one, I believe it's the last one we have here. This one doesn't have a name, but the screen name was, does it matter what this says? Hard ass, I like it. This person says, get sober now, you will not regret it. Hell, by 18, I was full-blown alcoholic and on my way to being a full-blown drug addict.
I like that that's a theme throughout this whole thing. A lot of, I think those are big things.
Huge things. Get sober now. He's saying, or this person, I'm assuming it's a he, is stating that they were at 18, full-blown alcoholic and drug addict. At 18, that is scary to think about.
That is very scary because that's so young.
That is very young.
Life is just really starting. I mean, outside of like high school and stuff, like the quote unquote real world is starting.
Yeah, and so
and she ain't always nice.
Yeah, and to have an addiction at that young of an age is very scary because, you know, it's only downhill once you're an addict. You don't meet an addict that's functioning at their highest potential. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's always downhill from there. So,
or it catches up. Yeah, absolutely. Sooner or later.
It sounds like this person is sober now, and hopefully they are. This is good advice, definitely, to tell yourself back then.
Well, and I feel like, I mean, I obviously don't know how old this person is, but going off like our age group, graduating in the earlier 2000s and stuff, but like through I feel, in my opinion, like through the late 90s, early 2000s, I mean, there was such a hardcore focus, I feel like, on partying.
Oh, there was. Sure.
There's the clubs, you go party, you have a drink.
The keggers, keggers out in the woods.
In the woods, yeah. In high school, it was fucking Mad Dog 2020.
Oh, my God.
Then there was a blue one. Were they called Skies? They were very
They had
aesthetic.
A version of it,
I think that was like a version of Zima or something after they discontinued Zima.
Horrible shit.
No.
Horrible stuff.
But man, that bottle of Mad Dog was like $1.50 at the corner store.
It was the Mickey's for us. We had the 22-ounce Mickey's in the bottles for 99 cents or something like that. We'd go up to the Oaks Market, and we had friends that had fake IDs, and they would get them for us, and we'd be drinking outside in the cold and the rain and all. Oh my God, it's just like the shit you do when you're young and you just don't care, and you're just like trying to like be cool. Like it's ridiculous.
For sure. Or another thing I did, I'm sure many people can relate. My parents weren't big drinkers, but they had a couple liquor bottles like in the cabinet or whatever.
I bet you I know where you're going.
They never looked at. And so what did Mariah do when she was 13, 14? Had friends over. Parents weren't around, you know, because it was the fucking late 90s, early 2000s. Parents didn't care. They weren't there. Let's fucking drink.
And what would you do with did you put water in there? Or? I did the same thing. Yeah. My grandma had these little bottles that we would chug sometimes, like that she'd bring back from Mexico, and they probably weren't even any good anymore, but like we'd fill them up, back up water. They're just tiny ones.
Yeah. They had a tequila bottle that had the worm in it.
Was it a real worm, or I guess they don't put fake worms in there. All right. Well,
wild times.
We've read everything that everyone sent in. Thank you guys all. You know what? Keep doing it. Keep sending these things in because I love these questions of the week. I look forward to doing this because it gives us a reason to conversate with people, get to know you a little bit. And, you know, like I said before, that your words on here that we read out and the comments that we have back and forth on this could be the words that someone just needs to hear to change their life or to make their changes that are positive for them. And that's what I really want with this podcast to do, is to inspire people to be something that you leave with something, even if it's just a laugh. I don't care. I want people to feel like their time was used wisely listening to this, and I want them to come back the next week and listen to the next episode and see what we discuss and that. Now, I guess we'll share what we would say to our 18-year-old selves. I'll let you go first because ladies first. And I'm going to put you on the spot for not doing your homework and thinking about this all day, because I've been thinking about my response all day.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, I remembered it. It's not that I forgot. Well, I mean, I kind of did. I read it originally, then I forgot, and then had to reread it. And I was like, oh, yeah. So if I could go back and speak to my 18-year-old self, what advice would I give to me? Not what I change, but guidance. I mean, it's a little mix of what everybody has said. I mean, for one, slow down. You don't need to rush life. It's going to come when it comes, especially that excitedness. Once you graduate, you hit graduation, you're like, I'm an adult now. I just want to jump into it. I would, tell myself to slow down, write down goals. I mean, and this is nothing against my parents. They're amazing and I love them. But I think this is a lot of people too, like back in the that time. Like parents, at least in where I'm from, grew up and stuff, I don't really feel parents sat down with you like maybe they do now and say, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? Let's maybe write down some goals, or at least maybe not putting all that on parents. But I don't even think they really did that in my high school that I remember. Not that I was probably listening or there, but put some goals together. Don't just rush. Don't just get all excited about boys and dating and jumping around. And because for me, I had a serious boyfriend all through high school. So I was with him for 4 years and broke up with him when I was about 18, close to 19.
That's because you didn't know Cody Perez. I could have came
I
over.
did
I would
not.
have came over and I could have stole you from him.
Oh,
Just kidding.
he was a nice guy. I was the dickhead in that relationship for sure.
Well, then you would have loved me because I was an asshole.
Well, there you go. But I guess that's what really opened my eyes, is that he was ready to get married and have kids. And that's when I was just like, growing up, I think especially being a female, you're kind of fed that whole Disney fairy tale of Prince Charming and get married and have kids and da 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 da. And I just remember once we got to that point, I was like, I don't think I want this. I want to go out and play. I want to go out and have fun. I don't want to be tied down with kids. I don't know that I want kids. I'm like, I don't know that I ever want to get married either. And so I made some questionable choices, unfortunately. I was the bad guy. He was a great guy. But luckily, I think he's ended up.
You wouldn't
doing
be here
well.
with me, the great
That's
Cody
true.
motherfucking
Exactly.
Perez, if it wasn't for
Yeah.
your stupid mistakes.
Exactly. So long
Just
story
kidding.
short, going from that, fresh out of, having a boyfriend all through high school, I just kind of went, I don't know, boy crazy, I guess, in a PG way. But then got into stupid relationships that I shouldn't have, So I would just say, slow it the fuck down, girl. Get some goals together, focus on yourself, invest in yourself. Fuck these dudes. Fuck these dudes, but bye. Do you, girl, put you first, not these fucking dudes that are shitheads and don't give a shit about you, won't put you first, but you're dropping all your shit.
Put
for
your
them.
first.
Put yourself first. Hey, you know what? It's 9:30. I've been HRing it today, so my brain's fried. You're welcome. So you're getting loopy, Mariah.
Well, you're also talking horrible in front of your son here.
Oh, he's used to.
Little Lorenzo's over here, and he's like, what the hell?
He's an angel baby.
Taz are they're jealous because he's not center of attention. All right, well, for me, what I would tell 18-year-old self, because I don't have any regrets. I am very happy that things just went the way they did for myself, just because they led me to where I'm at right now, and I'm very happy and thankful for where I'm at. But what I would have told myself that could have made things easier for me is learn as much as you can from the falls. Learn as much as you can from the bruises. Don't keep making the same mistakes over and over, because everything that happens that comes across that you come across, obviously celebrate your wins, but the losses, don't count them necessarily as losses. Make them lessons. And if I would have seen the writing on the wall when I was making these bad decisions the first time that something bad would happen and I changed direction, I wouldn't have made the same mistakes. I'd probably make other mistakes, of course, yes, but I wouldn't be making the same mistakes over and over. And I probably wouldn't have gone through a lot of the chaos that I went through in my late teens to into my 20s, into my all the way through up to my mid 30s, to be honest with you. So the one piece of advice I would give to myself is observe. Look at everything that's happening to you. When something bad happens, don't look at it like, oh, I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to do it smarter. No, it's literally stop and pause and think about what happened and what's the lesson to be learned here. And don't keep doing stupid shit, and just
self-reflection.
Self-reflection, and move in a different direction. Don't keep heading in the same direction that you're heading because you think you're stubborn and you think that you're meant to go this direction. You know what I mean? So that would be my one piece of advice, because I think that would have made things a lot easier for me, and it just would have not necessarily changed the things that happened, but I probably would have had a lot more progress in certain aspects, and I would have saved some friendships, relationships, whatever. But again, no regrets. That is life. I'm here where I'm at for the things that happened, and I don't sit and dwell on these things. But when I thought of this question, I was just wondering what people would say, because I always love to hear different perspectives. And I love that there was a lot of common themes that a lot of people said, but also there was a lot of different unique responses.
Yeah.
So I love
They
seeing
were
the
great.
balance of that. So with that said, I think we're done here with this first segment. And the next segment is going to be with my friend Eric Sheets, who has a great inspirational conversation with myself. And I think that you guys will enjoy it. So stay tuned, and he is going to share about his life. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. I have a great guest today. His name is Eric Sheets. Welcome, Eric.
Howdy.
Eric, basically what I want to do here is I just want you to come out here and tell us a little bit about your story and some of the, experiences you've had, and share with our audience. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, as mentioned, name is Eric. I was born and raised in Caldwell County, North Carolina, quite a few years ago. Not too far from where Waylon, I cannot pronounce his last name, and I do not want to butcher it. But from within that area of North Carolina, of course, the furniture capital during that time. Mom and Dad worked hard, did what they could do for their life. A little bit of a chaotic upbringing, not from the parent side, but just mainly due to medical issues and stuff like that all throughout the years. I was born with cerebral palsy, meningitis, and also scoliosis of the spine. So pretty much called it the trifecta of fun, just because of everything all at once.
Can you explain a little bit about what cerebral palsy is? Because the only time I've ever used or heard it before was, I believe it was JR from WWF Wrestling. I think he had it, or he had mentioned he had it.
He had Bell's palsy. So it's kind of similar, but the difference is this one, it can affect one side of the body. Best way I can explain it is, so you have muscle strength on one side of the body, depending on which variation it is that you have. Mine was viral, so I was left with side effects from it over the years. But the left side of my body, I maintained full control of everything. However, strength-wise, on the right side of the body, I'd say maybe give or take about 75% at most. It's a struggle. It's for the longest time growing up, like I understood it a little bit here and there. Had to go to multiple doctors growing up. If it was not for places like Shriners Medical Hospital in Gaffney, South Carolina, I would not be able to walk. I've been forever grateful to them, the doctors that we had in Winston-Salem as well. So for pretty much since I was about 3 years old up until, I would actually say until I was about 15. It was a constant battle with my parents having to take me back and forth with those doctors to get the treatment that was needed.
Is that something that progressively gets worse, or when you're born with it, they kind of know it's going to happen later on in your life?
It varies. Sometimes it can stay mellow, and then sometimes it can get progressively worse. I personally have noticed over the years, especially being 37 now, it's definitely taking its toll. I know the scoliosis side is definitely taking it a little bit worse, but if it wasn't for the doctors and everything, I cannot be more grateful for those, because they've got a difficult task that they have to deal with daily, and not only from my side, but the doctors and everything from Shriners, multiple things that they do outside of dealing with that, man. It's I could never be more grateful for them. And but a lot of the upbringing that I had, it as mentioned, it did take a toll on me growing up. Going through school, it was a pain in the ass. Not really so much kindergarten as much as you had it later on years in life, or years in school. You would have the kids that would go around that didn't know any better and would bully the people that were less fortunate. And I believe with that, it definitely shaped who I am now, because whenever I was younger, having those three things along with ADD or ADHD, it definitely made for a fun time. There were definitely, a lot of fun times that my family did with me and whatnot. So mom trying to keep me calm and didn't work out as well. I became a little hellion.
So I know that I was a really hyper kid growing up, especially when you're younger. You just want to run around and jump on things. I'm sure that must have been, so it limited you on what you could do, obviously, probably, right? As far as you're be able to play sports or run and jump on things and that kind of stuff.
Sports was out of the question. I would say around 8 to 10 is, of course, around the time that I picked up watching wrestling, and we know all how that turned out, especially with the Attitude Era.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to tune in to things like that, it helped to get my mind off of what was going on in the daily world. My mom, especially my brothers, my wife always says that jokingly always says that I was the Oates child, because there's a 16 and 18 year gap between myself and my two brothers. So, but yeah, they never really saw the disability in me. I would see it, and they definitely pushed me away from that stereotype of, hey, they say that you can't do it, but you can.
Would they treat you basically like, hey, we're not gonna treat you any different. We're gonna, treat you as like us, right? Or
yes,
is that what you mean?
Yeah, typical brother love.
Yeah,
regardless of how it went down. But
prefer that? Would you say you preferred to have that versus someone like trying to be, I don't know how to say it properly, but versus someone treating you differently just because, or trying to limit how they treat you?
Yeah, definitely. Not to get too far off the point, but like a couple years ago, went to a little fair here in town, had a little bit of a spell where I had fallen. And the worst thing that could happen is whenever somebody comes over and they're like, oh my gosh, are you all right? Which I know that they mean well by it, but I don't need 20 people coming around me and just looking at me and like, oh, hey, look at the gimp.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a hard, just as a person that actually, if something happens, I think everyone kind of wants to be helpful and not seem like the cold, like if you see something happen, you want to, I think the natural reaction is you want to go see, like, oh shit, can I help in any way, shape, or form? It's different if someone, I guess, because I've seen where both things happen, right? Where something happens and then people just keep walking by, and that, I feel as a spectator, that sucks. Like you don't care that this person is in need of help. At the same time, I've also been in situations where I'm like, okay, I don't want any extra attention over here on my end. I'm like, so I can see both sides of it.
Yeah, and that definitely happened a lot with the whole growing up thing, and with elementary school, middle school, it got progressively worse as far as like the bullying and all of that.
We're about the same age, so I know exactly, like, we're about the same. I'm 39. You said you're 37, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So we grew up around the same time frame when bullying was just like your everyday, like it was common. It wasn't stronger. Fun. Yeah, and it made you stronger. That's kind of the mindset that we had back then and whatnot. I can't imagine. What you're going through. Go for it. You keep going.
Yeah. But yeah, going through the middle school years, constantly going through and being put in school suspension because getting into fights with the quote unquote cooler kids, and come to find out the reason why that's happening is the principals and everybody, they're related to the kid that decided to be a bully.
God.
And it sucked.
Yeah, because then everyone's kind of like siding with them, and
yeah. And one of the biggest things that ended up happening was April 20 with Columbine.
Yeah.
You had these kids that was pushed because of the way that they acted, the way that they looked. And yes, you did have some kids that would talk to them and then the other ones would push them off. And with the way that, growing up around with that time period, a lot of the people that I was friends with at that time, of course, we all witnessed it. We witnessed what happened. But a lot of the people that I was really good friends with at that time decided to throw a curveball at me and start looking at me a different way, looking at me like I was one of them as far as, the two shooters.
Well, they were trying to compare you to...
Yes.
Wow. And what was there? I mean, was there a reason why they were saying that? Just because it was something like, maybe, do you think it was maybe like the media, the way the media portrayed those kids, and then they were like, well, that fits the description of this person?
Yeah, I was the so-called freak.
Goodness.
Because of just the health issues. No, nothing else. I mean, at that time, I'm listening to the fucking Spice Girls. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Spice Girls. I'm listening to the pop music. I'm listening to all of that. And, just so happened also around that same time, there was somebody that I became friends with that turned me on to a whole different breed of music. And, at the time it was, God, what was it? Napster, Kazaa, whatever. He somehow had connections with a couple of bands. Teenager turned me on to the likes of Fear Factory.
Nice.
Cold Chamber. Oh, God, what's another one? Even Slipknot and Manson. Well, Manson I kind of knew of with the MTV Awards, but didn't really pay much attention to it at the time. But my whole attitude with music just shifted towards that. Like, I wanted to listen to that because, one, just like in the 80s, what did it do? It pissed the parents off.
Yeah.
That was the best thing.
The rebellious part of it.
Yes.
Did you feel like when you heard it, like, what was it you think that attracted you besides that? Like, what would you say the sound of it was? Was it the angry tone? Was it the heaviness? Was it like, what would you say that drew you to that? I'm always curious, like, what attracts a person to, like, for example, heavy metal when they first hear it? Because for a first-time listener at first, it's intense. Like, the only way you can really describe it at first is intense. And sometimes that makes people either attracted to it or instantly like, oh, no, I can't hear this. It shuts people off.
It was definitely just the way it sounded in total. Listening to a song from Fear Factory, like, I think this was during which album was it?
Obsolete, probably.
It was either Obsolete.
Demanufacture was 95.
The one with Lynchpin. That was
the next one. That was 2001. That one.
Yes. Digimortal and with Lynchpin, like that was the song that Justin had introduced me to. And it just opened my mind. And little bit by little bit, I'm going through different bands here, which once again, Fear Factory, Cold Chamber. What's another one? I'll even throw it in there just for shits and giggles. Kid Rock.
Hell yeah. Hey, I'm still a Kid Rock fan, man. I like Kid Rock.
Same
I don't
here.
care what people say about him. I have no shame with what I listen to. I always tell people, like, if you like it, you like it. Who cares what other people think? And don't ever, regardless of what you think of the person or what their values are, or whatever the hell, people associate with their music. If you feel something and you like it or you connect with you in some way, shape, or form, regardless of what the person is, you shouldn't be embarrassed of it or ashamed of it.
Yeah. And as time went on, like I finally started growing up, so to say, and just not caring what others thought. But the biggest one that really changed my mind, hopefully you know where I'm going with this.
I know the name of the band you're going with. I can probably spell it out for you.
Yeah, but one late night, 2 a.m. in the morning, there's a debut of a video, Mudvayne's Dig.
Midnight, I believe. So you watched the debut when it happened?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. We waited up. My best friend and I and some friends of ours waited up because we knew it was coming, and we had already seen Mudvayne. We got to see Mudvayne on the Slipknot tour in 2000, so it was right before they even had an album out, like right when they were promoting for LD50. And then we saw them on the Tattoo the Earth, which was literally like a month right before LD50 dropped in stores and whatnot. So we got to see them twice. before anyone really knew who the hell they were. Like the only reason that we knew about them ahead of time was because of the Slipknot tour. We went to go see Slipknot, and we had found them on Napster. Like you mentioned Napster earlier. So we downloaded, I think it was Internal Primates Forever and Death Blooms from Napster.
No.
And so we knew we heard that they were putting a video out for Dig. I'm like, Dig? Out of all the songs they're gonna put out Dig, their heaviest, like one of the heavier ones. I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm here for it. And when we saw that video, I was like, what the hell did I just see? Like, because I already knew what they looked like, but I think it had something to do with like the white background, and then their bold colors and their makeup and all that, and just instantly I could see how that would attract you. And were you aware of the band prior to that, or was
No.
like it just showed up and you were just like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah, that's exactly the impression, because I had grown up on Kiss, of course, a little bit here and there of Slipknot, a lot of the theatrical music of the 70s and the 80s, the hair bands and all of that. So seeing, which I always relate it to this, it's just like the kid in the 70s that saw Kiss for the first time in makeup being like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? Like,
would you say that this was when you discovered your quote unquote music? And I say your by, I related to this, and I'll mention this like when I'm having conversations with people. So I grew up around music all the time because my dad was a radio DJ, and then my mom loves music too. So I was always around like anything from Tejano music to The Doors to Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, and all that. And I would listen and jam along because I just loved music. But it wasn't until my cousin introduced me to Metallica and Korn and Pantera where I was like, whoa. And I was like, okay, now I'm gonna be invested into these groups and this artists, and I'm gonna go buy their tapes and their CDs and find out about them and blast them on my own and that kind of stuff. So when I say your music, is this when you found your music, like Mudvayne or like Fair Factory, or?
Oh, most definitely.
When you would quote unquote found your music?
Yeah, most definitely. My brothers, with the age gaps that we had, one brother was always was a big time ZZ Top fan, and the other brother, he was AC/DC, but he went more along the lines of like being into a lot more stuff than just one specific music group. I can remember him introducing me to Typo Negative. I can remember him introducing me to Two Live Crew, for God's sakes. I mean, he was the brother that was the plethora of music. Don't get me wrong, the other brother was good too, but he was the one that was kind of a mix where he liked pushing the buttons on a lot of people, and especially with the music. I would going back to school. I would come into school waiting in line with having Slayer blaring or Two Live Crew blaring Me So Horny.
You like the good stuff, dude. I love that you're like all over the board. That's to me, that's key. Is like you gotta expand your horizons and like not limit yourself to what all the great music that's out there, because there's great music in every genre.
Yeah.
Would you say that when you found this music that it spoke to you in a way that other music had not spoke to you, and you kind of felt like a connection with it, and with you going through what you went through with, the bullying and that kind of stuff, you felt like you belonged into something, and that you were part of something bigger, like a community?
Yes.
Do you remember when you went to your first concert and how that felt?
So I can remember the very first concert that I can remember going to, which it was not that one, but it was a ZZ Top and Cheap Trick concert, a XXX Really Mean tour. But the one that I first went to, where I spent my money, it was 2008, 2009 Unholy Alliance tour. Devil Driver, Cataclysm, Unearth, and Dimmu Borgir. Yep. So
that's an extreme festival to see too, like a lineup of bands.
Yes, and they're in a little place, no bigger than which you've been there. I'm sure not Amos South End, no bigger than the Alrosa Villa.
Yeah, we played there.
Yeah,
that place is not
rest
very
in
big.
peace,
So.
time, by the way.
Yeah, that's a small little venue. So that's for you to be at a show like that. What were your thoughts when you first got there? Like, describe to me how you felt, the energy that was there, the vibes, the people. From
Welcoming.
that to the intensity of the music. Welcoming. Okay.
Yes,
I love that, dude. I feel like the metal community really is, and I think it's only gotten even more like that, which is weird because here's the thing. And I'm sure you see this online. You go to a concert and it's so welcoming, but then you go online and you go to some of these like Loudwire or Metal Sucks or Blabbermouth, and like you see all these hateful, angry comments and people just chopping things down. It's like you go to these shows and you don't see that. You don't really hear that. Like you see like a community of people that, you mosh with them, they drop you and they pick you right up, or they'll invite you to a beer, or they'll invite you to smoke their joint with them, or they'll lift you up on their shoulders if you're trying to crowd surf or that kind of stuff. And it's like, it makes me wonder. It's like, well, where the hell are these people that are talking all this trash? Like, do they go to any of the shows or anything like that? But what was it like for you? Like when you went to that show, and just describe the vibes, like
not being limited or not feeling like I'm limited by my health. It felt great. Given, of course, whenever Dez first broke into his song, my neck was pretty out there. I definitely did a lot of stretching within the first 45 seconds of one of his songs. So it was definitely a welcoming experience. Just having that high of no pain, nothing to do with my back, nothing to do with my legs, pure letting it all out. And I was hooked.
I love that. I mean, that's so cool to hear that's how you connected with music, and you felt a part of something and whatnot. And music is very empowering. I always tell people it's like that. It's like a form of therapy. It could be as simple as a song that comes on at the right time when you could be down on your luck and you're depressed. Maybe you broke up with a girlfriend, or you went through your first heartbreak. And music is also like a time machine. I guarantee you that there's songs when you can not hear them for 10 years. And then as soon as you hear that song, it takes you right back to a moment in time that, you remember hearing that song for the first time, or you were driving down the road with a loved one that's no longer here. You can still remember like the sights and sounds and the smells in the air. Music is very powerful, and the emotions that it can give to people is just, it's hard to describe. And like I said earlier, it's like, it doesn't matter what kind of style of music it is. It could be all forms of different types of music. And the reason why I personally listen to all forms of music is because I have different emotions just like everybody else. And I have different moods, and different songs bring out different things in me. And just because it sounds angry, or the lyrics may come off they're misinterpreted and they come off as negative, sometimes that's what you need, is to hear that someone else can relate to you in a way that you feel, or you feel like you're not heard or whatnot. And that song or that band gets you, and it makes you feel something that it makes you feel like you're not the only person when you are going through some stuff and going through things, whether that be, like I said, a breakup, or in a situation where you felt like you were being treated like you were less than or not an equal. Yeah, continue on with your story.
Yeah. I mean, to go back with what you was talking about just now, you have people like Manson. I cannot remember the exact quote from Bowling for Columbine, but whenever you put on whatever record it is that you listen to, it's not going to yell at you for dressing the way that you do. It's going to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Whatever album it is. But, aside from that, I was definitely hooked with the groups. The person that had actually turned me on to Devil Driver, that was just like one of those weird one-off concerts. And after going to that concert, it definitely, me being 15, 16 at the time, I definitely had that hook, or that fix for more. But still during around that time to going back to the Mudvayne 2001 thing. At around that same time, my grandmother, she was definitely up there in age, in her late 70s, but going through around that same exact time with one of the videos that I happened to catch at the same time, going down the wormhole with Mudvayne, is the Death Blooms video. During that entire time, like, I'm going down the wormhole trying to find everything I could about the band.
Yeah.
And I come across Death Blooms and, watching the video for it, reading the lyrics, and like I learned a lot from just that one song. Once again, mental health, dementia, Alzheimer's is a bitch to witness.
God,
and,
yeah.
And to see that at a young age, not really knowing it, but kind of putting two and two together, like it was a sad thing to watch.
It's sad and it's scary almost too. And I can speak to that because for myself, anyways, with my experience with it, is my grandma was like a mother to me. I was very close to her. She basically raised my brother and I. And we lived with her up until I was like 18 because my mom was always working. And I witnessed it with my own eyes, dementia, like affecting her to the point where she didn't recognize me. She called me constantly, like my uncle's name, thinking that I was him, or confusing things. But I saw it slowly happen. And then all of a sudden I saw it like where it really like got really bad. And it got to the point where, and I hate to admit this and say this, but I stopped visiting my grandma. Like I would go see her when I could, but I wouldn't go as often as I did because every time I'd see her, it made me so sad and scared and depressed to see that she was in that state where she didn't recognize me. And something about it scared me because it was telling me that soon I wasn't going to have her. And I don't know if I was subconsciously trying to like protect myself in a way where I was like, all right, I got to fade myself away from her because I know that I'm going to lose her. And I ended up losing her in 2014. Not to that, she ended up getting cancer, but I remember in her later years, I was seeing less of her because of the fact that I couldn't stand being around seeing that and her not recognizing me and her being so confused that it literally scared me. And I can't describe what type of scared it was. Maybe I was scared to lose her. Maybe I was scared that she didn't recognize me and how she would react and whatnot, or what she would say. But it's one of those things that even when I think back on it, I'm like, damn, like that's such a horrible thing to witness a loved one go through.
Yeah. And going through with that, I do believe, just like with you, I ended up putting up a lot of shields throughout middle school and high school. Just
Are you talking about like blocking out friends or family or both, or
blocking out friends because she did stay with us, but I felt like if for some odd reason, like if I had walked out and something happened to her, because she stayed at our house, but I always had that feeling of if I did not walk out, I mean, if something happened to her with me there at the house and I didn't stay there, I would never. I'm trying to think of the wording. I would regret it. Well, if something happened to her, like I would feel like it was my fault.
Yeah, no, and that's a lot. That's a huge weight to have on your, like. How old were you at this point?
I was 13, 14.
Oh man, yeah, that's like, and that's the age where you're like, you don't know who you are. You're, at that point you're discovering, like, you're going to school and there's like social life happening, like 13, 14, 12, 13, 14, 15. Those are all rough, really, really rough years.
Yeah.
And to have that kind of weight on you at home and then at school dealing with the bullying and the BS, man, like that is a tough situation.
Yeah, and like I did have a couple of people that lived in the neighborhood that I became really good friends with. That luckily my parents and everything was dealing with my grandmother. During my times of fun, I would go through, and me being the shithead that I was at the time, I would try to find ways to suppress the pain, so to say. Whether it was the stuff going on with her, the stuff going on with school, just the health, and that was just mainly Mad Dog 2020.
I was going to say, so would you say that some of the stuff like influenced you to give into alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, any of that kind of stuff? And how old were you when you first started experimenting with that stuff?
I never really did do any drugs. That I just
Good boy.
I never did. The people that I was hanging around with, they did their little sniffing contests and all of that, but I luckily had my choice was alcohol through and through. Not Mad Dog 2020 after one drink, but pretty much it was just if I could get my hands on it, I would do it at that age.
And when you were drinking, I was gonna say, when you were drinking, what kind of drinker would you become? Would you become like a social, loud and laughy and funny and fun person to be around, or would you turn into a sad person? Would you turn into an angry person? Or how did alcohol affect, or how did you going through that stuff and you coping with alcohol then affect how you were when you were drinking?
It was a happy drunk.
Happy drunk. Were you the fun guy to be around that everyone wants to, like, hey, like, let's go hang out with so and so and drink beers or whatever?
Yeah. We would get somebody in the neighborhood, their mom, they would go through, they would every Friday night go and do it and just don't tell anybody.
Yeah, those adults. Do you remember when it started taking a turn? I'm assuming it took a turn for the worst part eventually at some point, because I think alcohol feels like it fixes things, and then all of a sudden you start seeing the ugly signs of it and whatnot. Do you remember when that happened? Or
yes. Yeah, so we were at my friend's house and just shooting shit, watching wrestling that night, and decided to wrestle around, and just so happened he actually speared me through a wall, the hallway, and
what kind of wall was it? Was it like a drywall or
drywall?
Damn.
And at that time, like I'm not exactly a small person either. So it pretty much got to the point where it was we had demolished the bathroom. I'll say that
Jesus.
much. Then it got the kitchen table, and their parents, they weren't at home. They had been spending the week at somewhere out of town, and so that night or the following morning, we had to go and get stuff to repair everything. And of course, that was not a fun trip to deal with.
So you were wrestling like this when you have all these like health issues. I mean, you didn't feel it because you were under the influence, I'm sure, but
yeah.
How was the next day? Like,
I regretted it.
Pain wise, I mean, was the pain?
It was definitely there, but you get that high once again from, I don't know, performance, so to say.
Yeah.
For lack of better words. Yeah. Being 13, 14 years old doing that. And it's just like, what am I doing?
The shit that we do. Yeah. Is that at what point were you like, all right, I'm not drinking anymore? I mean, did it get progressively worse and worse and worse? It got to a point like where something major happened and you were like, all right, I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm deciding to go sober. Or was it just like gradually, or how did you get to the point of just saying, all right, I'm done?
It was a couple years after that, during a 4th of July party. I once again had been going quite a bit, and something involving fireworks, which luckily I didn't blow off any arms or anything, but just running around being stupid, happy fun, of course. But yeah, I just lost my balance and I don't know, bruised it or separated it somehow, my shoulder. Ended up going to the doctor the following day, and they're like, "Oh, was you drinking?"
They always know. There's no lying to doctors.
That was right around, I'd say 18, 19 years old. So at that point, it just started being casual drinking every so often, or, using certain things and food, to make it taste better. Stumbled across enjoying that with food, doing it that way instead of the bad way, thanks to my now wife. kind of skipped the timeline there a little bit, but
yeah, no. What would you say that with you going through the bullying and whatnot, how would you say that that's affected how you treat others in your everyday life, like in our adult lives, when you see a situation that you either witness people bullying someone else, or someone comes to try to bully you still, or tries to come off as a bully? Would you say that it's affected how you react to things, or you get
yes.
defensive, or tell me about that?
Yeah, I was one of them that whenever I was being bullied, I thought the right way to deal with things was, of course, to bully the person back. And talking trash to the person worked, but I kind of got a wake-up call within my first 2 weeks of high school with bullying. I had somebody that was bullying me that day. I went in to the lunchroom, went to talk to, just jump up, say hi to one of my friends, and then I was going to get back in line, all of that. And as I'm talking to my friend, I get pushed, and this kid ends up saying, get your gimpy ass back to the back of the line. Me being me at that time, I've reacted the wrong way. Swung the kid.
Shit.
1 hour later, I'm being interrogated by the school. Meanwhile, like going back to the story, sorry. As soon as all of that happened, how in movies you have that, like in Ashton Kutcher's Butterfly Effect, when everything just speeds past because of the choice that he makes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I saw. And it really, really changed my outlook on a lot of things over the next 3 years, I would say. I definitely learned anger management, learning how to control it a lot better, because I was looking at jail time over that. For the better part, that is the point that changed me entirely, as far as being this reckless 15, 16-year-old thinking that he could get away with anything that he wanted to just because, for whatever reason in the back of his head, he thought I could get away with it just because. For
the listeners out there that struggle with this, I know I'm one of them, because I can be very reactionary. And what would you say that you typically, like, how do you, when you are in a situation like that, what stops you from reacting right away, or reacting in a negative way that can, like, what tips would you give to someone that's reactionary before they do something stupid that can have life-altering and permanent consequences?
Walk away from it. Nothing is as important as saving your life. Yes, there are times when it's needed, but just a simple argument over something, don't. I learned the hard way on that one. My anger got the best of me at that time, and looking back at it, I wish that I could have done things a lot different than the way that I handled them that day. It definitely changed me for the better. I think it was more of a wake-up call, because you don't really know your strengths or weaknesses until you're pushed. And there are times when being pushed is good, but when your anger is being pushed, walk away from it. There's nothing good that can come of it.
Interesting you say that. I just had a conversation with someone about something similar to that, where I was like, sometimes you just have to breathe and you have to think before you say anything. Because I think, like, nowadays, especially with like social media, it's so easy for someone to go on a big old rant, and they go and post something, and they say it out of anger, or say it out of excitement, or say it out of whatever the case may be, that something drives them to be pissed off and react. And then later, like, those whatever you say on there could have consequences. You could lose your job. You could be technically, quote unquote, or whatever, canceled if if you're doing something that you're involved with the public. You could be arrested. You could, someone could commit a crime because of it, or someone could hurt themselves over it. I sometimes look back at, for example, like, Facebook has those memories of, like, your reminders of things that you posted or you shared or whatever. I sometimes look back at some of those things, and I'm like, I cringe. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I said that 10 years ago? Like, what was I thinking? And then sometimes I'm like, oh, yeah, that's something I'd still say. But there's some things that I'm just like, ugh, like I've grown so far past that. And like, I'll go in there, I'll delete it. But I'm just like, the fact that I said that. And I don't think people realize that when they're angry, like whether that's online or in person, especially in person. In person, it's even worse because you'd be driving down the road and someone cuts you off, you flip them off and honk at them or whatever. That person may follow you, and then they may, have anger issues or something was going on in that day for them. And that was the pushing point, like you mentioned, that drives them to do something extreme. Like they might ram into your car, or they might get out of their car and they have a gun and they shoot you or whatnot. Because like you hear stories about stuff like that. So the walking away part is smart. The only thing that I would say with that is that I'm a person that, and I hate this about myself, but when I do walk away, I will dwell on things forever. I'm like, I should have said this, or I should have done that. I should have done this, and I should have done that. But at the same time, I also get to a point where, like you said, I reflect and I will think about, okay, this could have gone a lot worse. And I try now to remind myself, like, if I would have done that or reacted this way, X, Y, Z would have happened, or X, Y, Z wouldn't have happened, and I'd be in a whole different situation. So I think that's some good advice, is like, just walk away, breathe it out, and let it go, because a lot of things are just not worth it. And some things are just definitely not worth getting that excited over. Not only that, but like the other person ends up winning. If they get the best of you by you reacting and then you freaking out and then you doing something that you normally wouldn't do, it makes them feel like they're in control and in the power of things, and like they have one up on you. Yeah. And not reacting to things is I think more powerful and a more of a fuck you to that person, because they couldn't get you to react or lose your control and lose your cool. Anything else that you want to talk about, you want to share or plug away, or anything like that you'd like to the listeners to know about or share? Maybe anything that you're involved in that you want to just put it out there and for people to check out.
So I do have a lame plug, but I do have a Twitch channel that I recently started up a couple months ago, mainly just gaming, shooting the shit with people.
Oh yeah.
There's really no topic offhand if somebody comes in and wants to talk about it. Another big thing is,
what's your gamer tag before you say that? What's your Twitch name?
So it's a lethal dosage 50. But at the start of it, it's L3 THAL dosage 50.
Love it. Okay. And what else did you have?
But, if you ever have any issues mentally, if you ever feel like, it's the end of the world, it's not. There's times where it feels like absolute dog shit, but it does get better. And if you ever have those issues, there are numbers out there that you can call for help. If you ever need it, I'm here. I can be the leaning post, so to say.
I love your positive attitude, man. Eric, it's great to hear your story, and thank you for sharing with us. Situations like that makes me thankful for what I have, and it gives me encouragement that if someone that's had it like you've had it, where you've had all these challenges put across you, and you can still have a positive attitude and you can push forward. It gives me encouragement to do that for myself as well. So I'm sure many people that will hear this can agree with that, and will love that could use that for ammunition to motivate themselves. So thank you very much for being on the podcast, man. I really appreciate it. So
all right.
Thank you, everybody, and tune in for next week's episode.
And that is the end of my conversation with my buddy Eric. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. And make sure you follow, like, subscribe, find the Liquid Shape Podcast anywhere and everywhere on social media that you can, and on any streaming platforms. Tell your friends about it. If you know anybody that would be good to be on this podcast to have a great conversation, let them know. They can email me, CodyPerezAOD@gmail.com, and let's go ahead and schedule something. And I want to thank everyone that continues to participate when I make those questions of the week posts. I love those. Me and Mariah have a lot of fun doing them. So thank you guys all so much, and we'll see you next week on the next podcast. Have a great day.
Be sure to find us on all social media platforms, follow and subscribe.